Hello again. You're probably familiar with this very popular activity in primary schools, colour spinners, where we make a spinning disc. Whoops. Try and make a better job of that. That's better. You could use a pencil. I've used a piece of 5mm dowel here that I've sharpened, and we can colour these discs in and find out about what happens when colours mix. You have good days and bad days at doing this. That's better. So that's great fun. But we can make it even more exciting by making an electric version of the spinner. It's fairly simple, and because I'm using the flat-sided electric motor that's even faster than the round motor, and when we pop a disc on this and turn it on, it really does mix the colours together very well. So here's how to make it. Let's just clear the decks. We could use a piece of wood for the base or a piece of cardboard, but if you've seen these videos before, you will already know that I'm addicted to this material. It's called Corex, sometimes called Coreflute. Comes in two thicknesses. To make it robust, I'm going to use the thicker, the 4mm thick here. This piece is about 12 centimetres square. We need to mount the motor vertically. We could use a block of wood. In this case, I'm going to use a strip of Corex which I've scored so that it can be folded. I'm going to glue that down like that with a glue gun, and then glue the motor to that side there. So I've got a glue gun handy. Just going to put some glue along that bottom edge and stick it down. This is where it's useful to keep offcuts of Corex. This has all come out of my offcut bin. There we are. Just give that a little bit longer to dry. There we are. Now before I stick the motor on, it's easier to fit the adapter. Now you might think at first that this is a P100 pulley. It's not. It's a reducing centre adapter. It's used to turn something that's got a 4mm hole. You can push it in and it turns it into a 2mm hole so that you can fit it to a motor. It is available from my supply service. If you don't have these, you can use a P100 pulley, but this is preferable because it's got a taper which makes putting on the discs easier. So I'm just going to push that onto the motor that way round. I don't know if you can see that. And now, oh, we've got a problem with the gluing here. Let's give that a little bit longer. Doesn't matter if it's not very straight. I'm just going to glue the motor on. You could of course use a motor mount, the type that's got the clip and the self-adhesive base. But there we are, there's our motor in place. Now, to make this tidy, I'm just going to use a hole punch just to make two holes so that we can pass the wires through from the other side. It's optional. There we are. And I'm going to use a single AA battery holder. This is the type that's got the wires fitted. Just going to strip the ends. You can make the wires a little bit shorter, make it a bit tidier. There are the ends of the wires stripped, and I'm going to glue that down over there. And I suppose this is a toy that could be made by Key Stage 2 pupils and be used by younger pupils. So I'm just going to pass one of the battery holder wires through the hole. It doesn't matter which wire you use, it doesn't really matter whether the motor spins clockwise or anti-clockwise for colour spinners. And then I'm going to join that wire to one of the motor wires by crossing over the bare ends and twisting them together. There we are. We'll tidy that up later. In fact, no, I think I'll stick that down now with a little bit of tape. There we are, so that's that connection made. I'm going to pass this other wire from the battery holder through the other hole. If I can persuade it to go through, there we are. So that we've now got two wires at the front, and here we're going to have a switch, and I think it's best to have the type of switch that you have to hold down. It's called a push to make switch, the type that you use for doorbells. Now we could use a bought switch. I'm going to make a switch out of two paper fasteners. But before we do that, let's just check that all is well with the circuit. Pop the battery in, make sure it's the right way round, and let's just pop a disc on so that we can see if the motor's going, and let's just hold these two wires together, fingers crossed. There we are, and that's spinning really well. So all is well with the circuit. So let's finish off by making the switch. First thing I'm going to do is to twist these multi-strand wires together to tidy them up, and wrap it round or pass it through the base, if you can manage it, of a paper fastener. I don't know if you can you see that? And wrap the bare end round the paper fastener a few times to secure it, and then I'm going to push that through the correct. You can make a hole first of all with an awl or compass point. So let's pass through like that, and then bend the legs over. There we are. Now the other paper fastener we're going to put in the other way round. We do need to take care about the positioning, because we want one of the legs to be able to reach over to touch that paper fastener. So I think we need to put it in around about there. Will probably be okay. Let's have a look. Have I got away with it? Yes, I have. Can you see that that paper fastener now can be touched onto the head of the other paper fastener? But before we do that, we need to wrap the last wire around the legs. A bit fiddly, but I'm sure little fingers will find this more easy. Alright, well, it's definitely working. So now I can bend that paper fastener leg all the way down, and to secure it, make it reliable, I'm just going to cover that with sellotape, but I'm going to make sure that I don't cover that paper fastener with sellotape, so I can seal all that down with some sticky tape. And if you want to make a really good job, seal all that down with sellotape as well. So, can you see how I've connected up that switch? You've got one wire going to that head of that paper fastener, the other wire going to one of the legs, around the legs of the other paper fastener, and when we move that across, pop something on, the right one on, when we push down that paper fastener, it completes the circuit. And I think this kind of switch is preferable because the circuit can't be left on and flatten the battery. So having made that, we can experiment with lots of different colour combinations to see what happens. This is a science experiment I remember doing in secondary school a very long time ago. We had a larger version of this disc with the colours of the rainbow. It's called Newton's disc, and what's supposed to happen is when it's spun, it's supposed to make a white colour. Well, it never was really very convincing, but perhaps that's a challenge that you could set your class, who can use the most convincing combination of colours to make the most convincing white, who can alter the ratio of the different colours. Finally, almost as a reward for the pupils, oh no, before I do that, because we've got the paper files sticking out, it is quite nice to just quickly glue some feet on underneath to raise it up. I'm probably getting a bit carried away here with my design, but if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well. Again, Coric's out of the off-cut bin. Here we are. And as I was saying, a really fun activity is to put a blank disc on and then get a pen and get it spinning, hold the pen, and you can start to build up colours. We can use different colours, and what tends to happen is if you've got quite a good pen that hasn't dried out, you will actually get streaks of colour moving out that way. And I find that pupils absolutely adore doing this. There's something particularly pleasing, I don't know what it is, but I could quite happily spend hours doing this as well. One final warning, the ink is spun out at a very fast speed, so I wouldn't recommend that you do this wearing an expensive white shirt, because you will end up with a Tide marker felt tip pen ink. So I hope you enjoy making your electric colour spinner.